Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Today marks the 30th anniversary of Tadeusz Morawiecki's government winning a vote of confidence. During his term of office of almost 500 days, the Council of Ministers led by Morawiecki undertook reforms that changed the functioning of the state and symbolically opened the history of the Third Polish Republic.
Polish President Andrzej Duda laid breads on Morawiecki's grave in Laski near Warsaw. On September 12, 1989, the Sejm of the Polish People's Republic appointed Tadeusz Morawiecki to the post of the first non-communist Polish prime minister after the end of the Second World War. According to the opposition, this was a groundbreaking period.
The
parliamentarian clubs of members of the Polish People's Party and the Democratic Left Alliance made it possible for this government to exist. Mr. Jarosław Kaczyński should take credit for it, because he was the one who talked with the representatives of our parliamentary club. This was the government that was announcing dynamic changes in Poland, but in my opinion it didn't take advantage of the opportunity it had. It also didn't use the support that it had at the very beginning, like for instance the Balcerowicz plan, which divided Poles and their financial situation.
According to publicist Marek Król, Morawiecki's term of office was the biggest trickery of the communists.
Tadeusz Morawiecki was a nice person, but he wasn't a good prime minister. To be honest, he wasn't the one who led the government. The burning of the files of the security services, many secret services activities that took place back then, it's all proof of this. In my opinion, he was a very nice person, but history won't judge him so positively.
The dispute regarding the costs of the transformation and failure to properly settle the past affects the assessment of Tadeusz Morawiecki's government. However, the scale of the economic, social, cultural and political changes that took place at that time determines the perception of this politician as one of the most important architects of the turn of 1989. Within almost 500 days of his term of office, the Council of Ministers under his leadership made reforms that changed the way the state functioned and began the Third Polish Republic.
Late last night, the Polish lower house of Parliament voted in favour of a new bill concerning the disclosure of the net worth of all state employees and their families, including members of Parliament. Interestingly, the majority of the opposition abstained from voting and is fiercely criticising the bill. Transparency in real estate holdings is considered the key to fighting corruption.
Now the Prime Minister, all the cabinet members, members of parliament, and the heads of most state-owned enterprises, their spouses or partners, families, including children living in the same household, will have to disclose their net worth at the beginning and at the end of their terms of office. The bill is believed to be the aftermath of the opposition's demands that the assets of the wife of Prime Minister Morawiecki to be disclosed, and it turned out that they have an agreement of the separation of matrimonial assets.
Nowe przepisy mają zwiększyć poziom zaufania społeczeństwa.
Mieliśmy obietnicę, że zostanie ujawnione.
We had promises that the disclosure will take place. There is no reason for Prime Minister Morawiecki not to disclose his wife's net worth. There is no law which forbids that. What we get instead, after a few months, at the last moment before the elections, we get a lemon bill. We are not against transparency, but we are not voting yes, because the bill is unconstitutional, and we will return to what we have had until now.
Ponieważ ta ustawa jest i niekonstytucyjna, w każdej chwili będzie odrzucona.
Chciałbym, żeby i bez tej ustawy ta informacja.
I would like that this information be disclosed without this bill. It is strange that this bill is being introduced so late, just before the elections, and there will not be enough time for it to be enforced.
Zapowiadana od pół roku ustawa pojawia się na ostatnim posiedzeniu.
O obecnej kadencji parlamentu.
During the present term of office, we had the previous disclosure law, and it just ended with the requirement of filing the end-of-term disclosure statement last Monday night, September 9th, 2019. We did that as MPs, and the matters regarding this term of office are closed. This bill has to do with the next term of parliament. We hope that the Senate will approve this bill soon, and the President considers it before the new term starts. We frankly do not know what the President Parliament will do. He has a right to sign it or veto it. Hopefully, we will see his decision before the official start of the session of the new Parliament.
Ma określone 3 możliwości.
Jeżeli ustawę uchwali Senat, a następnie podpisze ją prezydent,
If the Senate approves the bill and the President signs it, the assets of politicians and their immediate family members will be disclosed to the public.
w praktyce oznacza, że ustawa zacznie obowiązywać najpewniej po wyborach parlamentarnych.
Professor Alexander Nalaskowski, a renowned scholar in education, has been suspended from his professorial duties for 3 months by the authorities of the University of Torun. The rector of the university caved in under pressure from the LGBT community, which didn't like Professor Nalaskowski's article on the so-called equality marches.
Professor Nalaskowski first found out about the university's decision from the media and hadn't received an official letter from the rector until Wednesday. As he says, he doesn't want to comment on the matter since it's between him and the school. He also added that he was ready for the consequences when he published the article. I wrote more than 20 books. One could assume that I know how to write. What I witnessed during the Equality March in Białystok was impossible to describe in any other way. I used harsh words, but that's how it was. I was pushed to the side by armed police, while behind them marched people carrying symbols dear to me that were ridiculed and twisted. The reason for Professor Nalaskowski's suspension was his article for the Sieci Weekly, entitled Wandering Rapists. In the article, the author wrote about the LGBT communities raping the Polish cities by forcing their propaganda on them. Liberal media in Poland took his words literally and argued that the professor called members of the LGBT community rapists. It was a harsh article, but that's the nature of journalism. Mr. Professor was suspended not because the text was harsh, but because the Gazeta Wyborcza Daily, which made a lot of noise about it, took his words out of context. The rector and the university should familiarize themselves with the details of such a matter and remember that we're living in a country with freedom of speech. Until now, Professor Andrzej Nalaskowski has led the Faculty of Pedagogical Sciences at the Mikołaj Kopernik University in Toruń. He has written countless books and academic articles.
The enlargement of the European Union and cooperation in the field of security and energy. These were the main topics of the summit of the Visegrad Group and the 5 Western Balkan countries, which has ended in Prague. During a joint press conference, the Polish Prime Minister, Mateusz Morawiecki, said that it is clear how the Visegrad Group will play a key role in the division of portfolios in the new European Commission.
Niedawno właśnie ogłoszony został skład.
The new team of the European Commission was announced recently. We can clearly see that the Visegrad Group will play a key role in this division. Most of all, no one says that the Visegrad Group has no deputy leader anymore. That's because we don't have just one deputy leader, but 2. This is a huge success. Congratulations to Andrew and Peter. I'm very glad that people who have the same views and opinions as we do will have a very strong representation in very important areas. When it comes to Poland, these are the areas that we wanted to take over from the very beginning.
Te obszary, które od samego początku chcieliśmy objąć.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, the business and more programs. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.